The transport shuttle descended through banks of crimson clouds, leaving a silent trail across the orange sky of the freshly terraformed world designated Epsilon Verd. Inside, a human named Leo stared at the rolling violet grasslands, his hands clasped tightly on his knees. He was one of the first 10,000 colonists, a botanist hired to help cultivate the new biosphere. His new home, a prefabricated dwelling unit on the outskirts of the main settlement, awaited. The assignment officer in orbit had been efficient and brief. Your domicile is standard issue. Your domestic support unit has been pre-assigned and activated. It will assist in your acclimation. Leo had barely time to ask what that meant before being shuttled down. The house was a sleek, gray cube, utilitarian and clean. He stepped inside, the door sighing shut behind him. The air smelled of recycled oxygen and new polymer. Before he could even drop his single duffel bag, a figure emerged from an adjacent room. It was an alien of the Galeth species, a race who had joined the broader galactic commons centuries prior. She was slender, with skin the color of moss and fine, hair-like filaments that moved subtly as if in a gentle breeze. Her large, dark eyes held no pupil, just deep, liquid obsidian. She wore a simple gray tunic. She bowed her head, a graceful dip of her neck. "Welcome, Resident Leo. I am your assigned domestic auxiliary. My designation is Clea." Her voice was soft, translated through a subtle implant near her throat. Leo stood frozen. "A maid?" he asked, his terrestrial habits making the word sound clumsy. "A domestic auxiliary," Clea repeated. "My function is to maintain your habitat to optimal standards, allowing you to focus on your primary function. The assignment is mandatory for all new residents for the first terrestrial year." The first week was a quiet dance of profound awkwardness. Leo was a private man, used to his ownness, his own rhythms. Clea was a silent, efficient shadow. She would clean surfaces he had just cleaned. She would reorganize his datapads by a system he did not understand. He would wake to find his boots polished and aligned precisely north-south. He tried to protest. "Clea, you really don't have to do that. I can handle my own laundry." "The efficiency is suboptimal if you perform tertiary tasks," she would reply, already folding a shirt with impossible geometric precision. "Your work in the greenhouse sector is vital." "This is my work." Leo felt a strange, simmering frustration. It was not about cleanliness, but about agency. This was his home, yet he felt like a guest in a museum maintained by a silent curator. One afternoon, he returned from the greenhouse labs, tired and soil-stained. He had been working on inoculating native Verdian lichen with earth nitrogen-fixing bacteria. It was delicate, frustrating work. He tossed his work vest onto a chair and slumped down at his small kitchen table, head in his hands. Without a word, Clea glided over, picked up the vest, and began to brush the soil from it. The sight, for some reason, ignited a spark in him. "Just leave it," he said, his voice tight. "It requires cleaning," she stated. "I require it to be left alone," Leo said, standing up. "I need to see the soil. I need to remember the strain by its texture." "You are erasing my work." Clea paused, her long fingers still on the fabric. Her head tilted. "The soil is a contaminant in the domestic habitat. My parameters are clear." "Your parameters are wrong," Leo said, heat in his voice. "This is not just a house. It is my space. My work and my life are messy. They are not optimal. They are human." He reached out and gently took the vest from her hands. Her fingers released it, and she took a slight, almost imperceptible step back. Her dark eyes studied him. For the first time, he saw not just programmed response, but a flicker of something else. Confusion. "I do not understand," Clea said. "My function is to optimize." "Maybe," Leo said, the anger draining, replaced by a weary resolve. But maybe you could ask what optimal means to me, or just watch for a while. A strange silence settled. Clea gave a slow nod. I will observe. The change was gradual. Leo stopped trying to be tidier. He left his botany journals open on the table. He kept samples in clearly labeled, but decidedly messy containers on the counter. He cooked, and sometimes left a pan to soak. He began to talk, not to her directly, but aloud, explaining what he was doing. This lichen here, he would say, holding up a specimen. It's stubborn. It doesn't want the bacteria. It's like it's proud. Clea would be wiping a surface nearby. Her movements slower, her head tilted in his direction. One evening, he was sketching a frustratingly complex root structure on a large sheet of paper, pencils scattered around him. Clea approached. She did not start clearing. Instead, she looked at the drawing. Your lines convey its struggle, she said softly. Leo looked up, surprised. You can see that? The lines are not efficient. They are repeated. They are heavy in places. This indicates frustration in the creator. The organism itself is not struggling. It is simply being. You are the one struggling to understand it. Leo stared at her. It was the most she had ever said, and it was profoundly perceptive. That's exactly right, he whispered. My people, Clea said, her voice even softer. The Galeth, we seek perfect harmony, perfect order. We erase the struggling lines. It is our way. I was assigned here because Galeth auxiliaries have the highest efficiency ratings in the Commons. But this isn't Galeth, Leo said. This is a new world. For humans, understanding comes from the struggle, from the mess. The first draft is always wrong. Clea looked from the drawing to her own hands, tools designed solely for erasing mess. I have no function in that process, she said, and for the first time, Leo heard not a statement of fact, but a note of loss. Yes, you do, he said, an idea forming. Just not the one you were programmed for. The next day, he brought home a second set of tools from the greenhouse. Small, delicate spades, a magnifier, pots of sterile soil. He placed them on the counter next to her cleaning supplies. I have a proposal, Leo said. A new parameter. 1 hour of your cycle is for domestic optimization. The rest, if you are willing, is for assisting me. With this, he gestured to the tools. The real work. Clea's filament hair stirred, a sign of deep contemplation. I have no knowledge of xenobotany. You have observation. You have precision. And you see the lines, Leo said. I need help cataloging. I need help preparing slides. It is messy, tedious work. It is not optimal. It is just important. She reached out and touched the handle of a small spade. It was so different from her polisher. It was a tool for interaction, not erasure. I am willing to attempt this new parameter. She said that the transformation was not overnight, but it was profound. Clea learned to handle specimens with a touch more delicate than any human hand. She prepared culture dishes with flawless sterility. She began to notice patterns Leo missed, her perception tuned to minute symmetries and disruptions. She still cleaned, but less obsessively. A layer of dust in a corner was no longer a failure, but a sign that their attention had been elsewhere. On a breakthrough under the microscope. One evening, months later, the key breakthrough came. The lichen was accepting the bacteria. It was Clea who noticed the subtle color shift in the symbiotic zone, a change so slight Leo had discounted it. Look, she said, pointing with a slender finger. The struggle in the lines is gone. There is a new pattern. It is harmony. Leo rushed to the scope. She was right. He let out a whoop of joy, an uncontrolled, messy, human sound. On impulse, he turned and hugged her. She stiffened for a second, the Galath not being a tactile species. Then slowly she relaxed, and her own arms came up in a gentle, mirroring gesture. It was not quite a hug, but it was acknowledgement. A sharing of the triumph. The year came to an end. The assignment officer's notification pinged in Leo's terminal. Domestic auxiliary assignment period complete. Unit Clea is scheduled for recall and reallocation. Please have the unit report to the transport hub. Leo read the message, a cold feeling in his stomach. He looked across the main room. Clea was not cleaning. She was carefully repotting a hybrid fern, one they had developed together. She hummed a soft Galath melody, a sound like wind through reeds. He walked over to the terminal and typed a response, copying the Colonial Administration and the Galath Auxiliary Corps, requesting permanent reassignment of Domestic Auxiliary Unit Clea to my domicile and research team. Her function has been successfully re-optimized. She is no longer a cleaner of houses. She is a co-creator of a world. Her efficiency ratings, by the new parameters, are perfect. He sent it before he could doubt. The reply took a day. It was from a confused Galath supervisor. The request is irregular. What are the new parameters? Leo looked at Clea. She had heard the ping and was watching him, her dark eyes unreadable. He typed the final reply, the simplest, most human truth he knew. The parameters are partnership. The approval came, marked as an experimental cultural exchange. The day the notice arrived, Leo and Clea were in their small attached greenhouse, their hands both buried in the rich, dark soil of Epsilon Verde, planting something new together.